Hi, welcome to MG Life Hacks, the channel made for Myasthenia Gravis patients like myself, Myasthenia Gravis caregivers, family, friends, or whoever cares. I wanted to talk about some of the things that I found that help when I have brain fog. That's due to, well, a couple different things. Mine comes from just the antibody levels being high. At a certain point, I am definitely due for an infusion, so I am working through the brain fog currently. There are a couple different tips and tricks, though, that I rely on to help me function despite the brain fog being pretty thick. Unfortunately, I don't have any hacks to make it just go away. So this video is just pretty much how to try and navigate through it. Not really finding solutions, just finding things that work for you or help you come up with your own ideas if these things don't work for you. I have found with mine, it tends to be a little thicker around the time the antibiotics are getting worse because my sleep is disrupted. It's not getting to sleep that's the problem. It's staying asleep. That's the problem. And it can also be compounded by things like, hormones, perimenopause, menopause, things like that. So it can get really bad. Anywho, what I do is I will set up a ton of alarms. It looks really alarming for anybody looking at my list of alarms. If I'm just setting them, because I use my phone to set a bazillion alarms because I can set them up to repeat on certain days that I need them to repeat. That way I'm not trying to remember to look at a calendar to figure out where I need to be at a certain time every day to pick up my daughter, drop her off somewhere, pick up, different things. I'm setting alarms for regular events like karate pickup. I'm going to set that alarm for a certain time so I have enough time to get myself together and get my stuff together and pick my daughter up for karate. Tuesday and Wednesday, have it repeat. Perfect. Then there's another reminder for band practice, pick up. There's another reminder for, science club, things like that. So I rely on those in addition to the ones that I have set up to remind me to wake up for work. Yes, I also have one set up to remind me to stop work because I just get very focused and wrapped up in it and I lose track of time. Brain fog is a real thing and you do have to try and find ways to navigate through it, even if it's kind of funny. You have a reminder to stop work? Yes, I do. I have to. That's just the way it works. The other thing that I do for other types of things that take a little bit longer to accomplish, it's not like an alarm to wake up, like birthdays that are coming up or birthday parties that I know my daughter is going to go to that I need to order presents for. Those I have as reminders in my phone, and it's to set the alarm to drop her off at a certain time or, set an alarm so we can navigate from wherever we are. If it's errands or something like that, I set that alarm up to remind me while we're running errands, hey, you gotta drop. These are the things we do to stay organized. So I will set an alarm after a reminder has gone off to set the alarm for so-and-so's birthday party. And then the week before that, I will set an alarm to remind myself to order the present. It's workarounds. It's just, you have to try and figure out how to do things a little differently. What I do also recommend is, since this illness, at least my experience of it anyway, with the physical limitations that come with it and the sheer unpredictability of whether or not I'm going to be able to do the things in my alarms or do the things on my to-do list, looking at all that stuff at once, like I used to do, it was like this long list of things to do. And it was longer because of my illness and because of flare-ups and days where it's just not going to happen because it can't. For the longer term stuff, I just focus on what the next step is, maybe, for that day. So longer term stuff, I actually have a small pile, and I know where to find, different things in that very small pile in terms of, what phone numbers to call or what addresses I need to reach out to or who or whatever. Things like getting the beneficiaries straightened out. One of the things that I did that was a longer term project as soon as I got out of the hospital the last time was to set up and make sure that all of my insurance information, life insurance information, everything was where my husband could find it if he needed it in case I was hospitalized again. So he would not be stuck with all of the emotional damage that just comes from having your spouse in the hospital and then having to do all of the things that your spouse was doing and trying to figure out how they were doing them. So that was the first thing I set up, and what I thought was so overwhelming was just this long list of things that I needed to do. So what I did was I made a very small, teeny tiny post-it note with maybe 2 or 3 things that I could tackle that day if I felt able. And I put it in a spot where I would see it every day. So every day while I was at work on my break, I could do maybe, if I felt able, 1 or 2 of those things, because it was during business hours where other businesses were open and I could make appointments, cancel appointments, whatever. But the longer term stuff felt a lot less overwhelming when I just had the pile where I needed it, if I needed to get information out of there. But it felt a lot less impossible with just 2 or 3 things on a post-it note if I could do them both days, if that makes sense. It's more like splitting it up, because the way I would perceive it is just this long list of things that I can't do because it's a really long list. Instead of tackling it that way, I was breaking it up because of the brain fog and just trying to be able to figure out a way to strategize it with an illness that can't be strategized. It's difficult. So you have to be kind of flexible and fluid in your approach to problem solving with brain fog. And it stinks, and you have my sympathy if you're experiencing it, because it is so annoying to try and think through. The other thing that I did also want to mention is at its worst, when it was really, 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 really bad, there are giant portions of memory that for me got impacted pretty badly until I could get this illness managed well. And there were memory gaps of things that would, doing my work that I've done for a long time, where pieces of information would just go missing. And by that I mean, okay, I have a set of instructions to do a task that I've done forever, repeatedly, over and over, every day for the last 20 years. Poof, gone. Oh, what do I do? It will not stay like that, probably. It will probably not stay like that. I don't know how long yours will last. Hopefully it breaks up for you. But what helped me a lot was getting it under control and managed, and getting the antibody levels down with medication and treatment and time and rest. If your body is telling you to rest. That's the best way to get it back faster. And I know not everybody can do that. I can't do that. But when I can, I do. Unless I'm filming. But the way that you can kind of navigate through that, if you can find work or a set of instructions or training that has shown you before, or other people in that company, how to do XYZ, just find it. Just do a little refresher. Also, don't judge yourself. Holy cow, I feel like we would all be better off if we were all a lot more patient with ourselves and we wouldn't be impatient with other people. So be patient with yourself. Try and find some training materials. What I also found helps me a lot with different gaps in my memory that would just, I don't remember who to reach out for such and such. You can do searches in Outlook, obviously. You can ask a peer, you can ask your manager, you know what, I'm just having a day. Who do I reach out to for this? And reach out to different people for different sources of information or different gaps to fill in. Or you could also do, I can't remember what it's called. Thank you, brain fog. But you can brainstorm it, and I would put like the problem in the middle and then a bunch of branches off when I would think of things that like, oh, okay, so this is related to this, and it's categorized by this. And once you get into that flow of remembering the different pieces that you can remember through the brain fog or despite the brain fog, write it down. And if you notice different types of memory are just going bye-bye temporarily, write those down. The moment they pop back into your head, it might be at a completely unrelated moment. I know, it's fun. But that was very helpful for me because I was able to then fill those gaps back in, and I've gotten almost all of it back. I still get the brain fog, yeah. But at least I have, it's almost like a little instruction manual for myself. So also keep all of the training materials that you were ever given at work and put them in a shared drive with the department that you're in. That also helps a lot too. So I hope these tips help you out, and I hope that you find some relief from the brain fog. I hope you get there. Take care.